Landlords beware. Squatters are taking over and they can literally steal your house. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's the story of a landlord who has a squatter in their house. Now, I keep covering these articles because this is a very important topic, and it's happening more often lately, especially with the economy the way it is. There are just these squatters who have decided to start taking advantage of the situation, using the tools available, the law, in order to get somewhere free to live, if not temporarily, then for as long as possible. So yeah, they're going into landlords' houses when they're vacant, maybe in between tenants, and they're just moving in, and then they come up with these fake leases. They're usually leases that they just pulled off of some website online. They fill out the name or whatever, and then if they ever are confronted about being in this house illegally, they pull out this fake lease, and then they claim, oh, I was the one who was scammed, and I have a right to be here because I signed this lease. And by doing that, the squatter usually has to be evicted, go through the full eviction process. That means that in some states, they have months before they have to be out of that house. In some states, it's a little bit faster, but, regardless, for the landlord, it's going to cost them thousands of dollars in attorney fees and months of lost rent. So yeah, this is a bad situation. And I'm trying to bring attention to it because there are things that we can do to help, keep the problem, mitigate the issues. Now, there's no way 100% to prevent it. If somebody wants in your property, they can get in there in most cases, but we'll do the best we can to make sure that our properties are protected and that we have to deal with these squatters as little as possible. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. Are you worried about squatters getting into one of your properties when it's empty? Or have you dealt with squatters before in one of your properties? And what are the things that you're doing in order to prevent squatters from getting into your houses? Okay. I mean, I'm doing a lot of little things. Like, for example, I don't like to have lock boxes on the front door. That is a clear indicator that, hey, this house is empty. Another thing is I don't put for rent signs on my properties. Okay. I might list them online, but there is not a for rent sign letting everybody know, hey, this place is probably empty because, it's for rent right now. I don't like doing that because of the potential of somebody going in there. And even if they don't squat, they could say, oh, well, the house is vacant, so I'm going to go in there and see if there's anything to steal. Okay. But yeah, there's little things like that. Of course, checking on the property frequently, etc. But, there's a lot of little things that you can do to help protect your property from squatters. Like I said, though, there's nothing that is 100% guaranteed. And if people really want in your house badly enough, they will figure out a way. So anyway, let's get into this article and see what it says, because it's quite interesting. This article is coming from news4jax.com, and it says, I-Team, Jacksonville homeowner says squatters refuse to leave her rental. Occupants say they can be there. Women living in home claim they were victims of scam. And this article has a good little video that came with it, so I'll play that for you right now.
You have to leave.
I own
You
this house.
have to leave, according to the police.
That's a confrontation between Patty Peoples and two women living in her house who are not identifying.
They're living their best life in my home illegally without any payment.
Peoples says she put this Hogan's Creek house on the market in February after her longtime tenant moved out.
We had an offer that we were ready to accept.
She says she became suspicious when she found dogs at the house and a car parked in the backyard.
I was going to enter the house, and then it dawned on me that there could be individuals in there and that might be placing myself at some danger.
There were two women inside claiming they were renting the property. According to the incident report from JSO, one of them said they found the property on Zillow and reached out. She said the pair signed a rental lease and provided a copy of that and a deposit receipt to the officer. She told police she wasn't able to get in touch with the person who had rented them the house.
Okay, you saw the video. Let's get into the article. A Jacksonville homeowner contacted the News4Jax I-Team saying squatters moved into her rental property and never left. The women living in the home say they were victims of a rental scam, and they say they have every right to be there. Meantime, Patty Peoples, the homeowner, says it's been a frustrating and costly experience trying to get them out, costing her nearly $5,000 in attorney fees so far. They're living their best life in my home illegally without any payment, People said. She put the Hogan's Creek home on the market in February after her longtime tenant moved out. There was an offer that she was ready to accept, but she got suspicious when she found dogs at the house and a car parked in the backyard. So yeah, basically this is a landlord. She had a longtime tenant living in her property, and the tenant moved out in February, right? So she puts it up for sale on the market. It sounds like she was just trying to get out of the rental property business. Okay, a lot of small landlords, they just don't feel like it is worth it to keep renting the properties out. But guess what? She drove by the property. She noticed a car in the yard. She noticed dogs in the yard. Hey, something's not quite right here. So she began to suspect that, hey, somebody has moved into my property, without my permission, with no lease or anything. So yeah, this is screwing up not only the sale of her house, but if she had any damage due, from the dogs, from the tenants that are staying there, she's getting completely screwed over. I mean, she doesn't know what the condition of the house is on the inside now that these squatters are staying there. So yeah, I mean, this is really, really bad. Okay. And on top of that, who knows if they have utilities turned on or not, or if they're stealing electricity. This is one of the issues I had in one of my units where I had a tenant who wasn't paying me rent at the time, who had hooked up an illegal electrical connection from the power company up to their power, just so they could have power inside their unit. And the power company comes calling me and saying, hey, what's the deal here, right? And I'm like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but this is the tenant who is doing this, not me as the landlord. I'm not stealing electricity. I have no reason to. Okay. So yeah, I mean, this could be a major issue, especially for a small landlord like this, especially screwing up the sale of the home. So how long is it going to take to be able to get this tenant out of there? I don't know Florida law. I do know that they are more landlord friendly. So she's probably not going to have to, wait more than 2 months or so. I'm just guessing. Okay, I don't want to say too much because, like I said, I don't know Florida law. But let's continue. I was going to enter the house, and then it dawned on me that there could be individuals in there, and that might be placing myself in some danger. People said there were two women inside, claiming they were renting the property, according to the incident report from JSO. That's Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. One of them said they found the property on Zillow and reached out. She said the pair signed a rental lease and provided a copy of the deposit receipt to the officer. She told police she wasn't able to get in touch with the person who had rented the house. When the I-team called the number listed on the police report, the person told us we had the wrong number. Zillow shows no record of the house being listed for rent around that time. So yeah, like I said, this is a common scam, okay? They pretend like they are the victims in order to keep the police off of their back, because otherwise they could be charged with trespassing. So that's why they have the fake lease. That's why they came up with the story. That's why they have to go through the entire eviction process. Because I guess in some parallel universe, this happens a lot where renters get scammed and somehow end up in a house that, no, it's not likely, it's not possible, and it's pretty easy to figure out that, hey, this person is a scammer. And I'm going to tell you exactly why, because a little bit further down in the article, it says here, the responding officer wrote that a search of one of the occupants' names revealed that she was listed as a fraud scheme with the exact same circumstances in December at another house nearby. According to the report for that incident, the two women were living in that house without the owner's knowledge or permission. Less than a week later, the out-of-state company that owns the house filed an eviction notice against an unknown occupant who they say had illegally taken possession of the property. Records show the eviction was finalized in mid-February. A neighbor says the women moved out at the beginning of this month, around the same time they moved into people's house. So yeah, these ladies, just at the end of December, were committing the exact same fraud on another rental property in the same town and had just been evicted by the courts at the exact time when they just happened to move into this lady's property. In my mind, right, there is no question that this is a pure trespassing issue, right? This is not a scam. They didn't get scammed. They are fraudsters, simply put. There is no reason to have to, push this landlord into an eviction process, spend thousands of dollars and months on end trying to get this person out of their house. This person is a scammer and they need to just be thrown out. That's my personal opinion. Okay, so if I'm a landlord, I'm watching out for this sort of thing. If I'm a landlord in a place where this is more common, watch out for this sort of thing anywhere in the country. Okay, when I have a vacant property, I'm always worried that these sort of people are going to break into it and do the exact same thing to me that they did to this lady, and I feel bad for her.